anyone else go to the new Crow movie? Because I feel like no one else saw it. I'm going to try to explain to you why The Crow 2024 is an insult to your eyes, ears, and well-being without comparing it to the original. Even though that is really hard to do, because the filmmakers say this is a reimagining of the original comic and not a remake, you just can't help but compare it to the first movie from 1994. The world they built, the kindness of the titular character, the soundtrack, it all came together perfectly for me. In case somehow you don't know, the guy who plays the Crow is Brandon Lee, Bruce Lee's son. He actually died on set from a bad gun prop, and it was super tragic. I think that's a huge reason why the original is such a cult classic and got a lot more attention. I can see it being very easy for people to say that this remake is an insult to Brandon Lee's memory, which isn't a big stretch since this movie is so crappy, but I'm not going to let that play a big factor into why I hate it. I hate it just because it's bad. The story from the original Crow is about a guitarist who is in this loving and amazing relationship with his girlfriend, and one night they are brutally, and I mean very, very brutally murdered. 1 year later, the dude rises from the dead with the help of his spirit crow because he has unfinished business, and that business is to kill everyone responsible for the death of the love of his life. The movie pretty much starts with him becoming the Crow, an unkillable dude who shreds his guitar on rooftops while it rains. It's awesome. And then you have this. It starts with the main dude in a psych hospital that for some reason has boys and girls. He meets the main girl who like purposely put herself in the psych hospital to get away from like the bad guys because she has a video evidence of the main evil dude doing something evil, so they're looking for her. And eventually they find her at this psych hospital and she's like freaking out. So the main dude's just like, oh, I can help you. I know exactly how to get out of here right now. I was just keeping myself in here because I wanted to. And they do. Now, I want you to think about what you would do if you had very important evidence and evil people were coming after you. Would you A, make copies of the evidence and go to the police, or B, hang out in a random friend's apartment and smoke weed with the guy you just met? They do the latter in this movie. And time is very weird here. I can't even tell if it was supposed to be a montage of like a month or a week or whatever, but they fall in love because that's what this movie really wants you to believe, is the love between these two characters. But the main girl is a singer named like Styx in real life and not the best actress. And I believe Bill Skarsgård is good. I've seen him in stuff and he is good. But in this, while playing Eric, he gives a very, very cringy performance. I definitely believe when they call this a reimagining because they reimagined it to be very bad. The way we care about the relationships in the original is from flashbacks of moments they had together, glimpses back into that tragic night too. The point of the story isn't a love story, it's a revenge story. So why would you make half the new one, which is unnecessarily complicated, just to eventually get to what we all saw in the trailers, which about halfway in, the main dude and the main girl finally get killed. I know getting killed in any way is bad, but it's no way near as bad as the original movie. They just get suffocated with bags and they call it a day. And I bet you think that now is finally when we get to see the main dude, Eric, become the Crow. Well, not really. I mean, kinda. Like he has the ability to not die, and we get some cool scenes like his gut getting cut open and he has to like push it back in so it can heal. It's brutal. It's cool. But he's not like a badass revenge-seeking killer yet. Instead of being like the man with the plan, he seems really concerned with how and why he's back and can't die. I mean, like, dude, just get over it and go kill some people. That is what we are paying to see. So the next quarter is him stumbling around confused, not really knowing what to do, not wanting to kill anyone yet. We get 1 or 2 action scenes, if I'm remembering right, which I can't. This is so forgettable. And then he meets this dude in the halfway zone who's like, you gotta kill everyone if you want to get the girl back. And so he's like, okay. And the dude in the halfway is like, oh, by the way, if you doubt your love at all, you're gonna lose your powers. I mean, how on earth could he doubt their love with this girl that he met like a week ago? I don't know. And I cannot emphasize enough how stupid this is. So he finds out what the evidence is the main girl was hiding the whole time. It's a video of the old evil dude. He has like the ability to tell you to do something and then you do it. So he does that to the main girl and she like kills someone. But then he gets like, oh no, like I don't know her at all. She killed somebody, even though he knows that the guy's ability is to make people do stuff they don't want to do. Like, why are you mad at her about it? And so he doubts the love and he goes back to the halfway zone and the guy's like, oh, sorry bro, you're done. And he's like, no, let me try again, I'm sorry. And so he's like, okay, you can go back as the Crow, but when you were done, you're gonna have to go in her place, so she's gonna come back to life and you're gonna stay dead, okay buddy? And he's like, okay. So then he like fully transforms into the Crow this time, like take 2. And this is like the last, like I swear, like 20 minutes of the movie, dude. Then we get this awesome action scene of him just hacking and slashing to death these innocent security guards who want nothing more than just to pay their bills, their mortgages, go back to their kids. At the end of the action scene in the opera house, he like cuts off one of the security guys' heads, and then he goes out on the stage and then like throws the head in the audience, just scarring all these innocent people who probably have kids there too, like for no reason. And the ending's like really confusing. Like he kills the bad guy and then it goes back to like when they first suffocated in the bags. Like she comes back to life, but he's dead, but the guys who killed him are like nowhere in the room. It's really confusing. So it ends with her alive and then him still being the Crow. Like, oh, maybe we'll get a sequel. No, you're not, pal. In the original, all the kills were intentional and you felt the weight and satisfaction of them. You could follow the story through one thread and could just enjoy it. You didn't have to think too much with an overcomplicated stuffed plot. The original Eric shredded guitars while new Eric blazes weed. Old Eric avenged the death of the love of his life. New Eric gets caught in a shopping bag because of his spring fling. And the soundtrack has no reason to be so weird, didn't match the tone at all. In the old Crow, the soundtrack was like one of the best parts. The Crow 2024 is boring, an actionless action film, forgettable characters, dumb story, terrible acting, just downright a bad movie. 1 star.